Welcome to an overview, discussion, and demonstration of the Outsource Central module from Delmiaworks. This tool provides users the visibility they need when sending components to a third party for processes that you might not offer at your plant, such as painting, anodizing, or powder coating. It ultimately grants users the visibility they need in order to gain better control of their supply chain. The module includes the functionality to not only create shipments for these third-party vendors, but also adjust inventory levels to represent the quantity that has been shipped and is in the possession of the vendor. Outsource Central also creates and links purchase orders to those records, so when the finished good is received from the vendor, it is already accounted for, and the system will automatically relieve the inventory that was previously allocated and sent. Users are in control with Outsource Central, which also allows for supplier-specific pricing, available to promise, and capable to promise functionality. This presents the greatest flexibility in not only building and maintaining relationships with third-party vendors, but also allowing for ample production time and processing between these vendors, your business, and shipping finished goods to your customers. Taking a dive into the system, you can see that the manufacturing type for this particular item is outsource configuration. The outsource BOM requires some of the same information as a typical manufactured item, including manufacturing number and description, but also vendor. The vendor who is selected here is the one who will always be completing the outsourced process for this specific bill of material. Users will also input the number of days it will take to complete the process. The system allows for a scrap percentage to be included in the outsourcing process, so if a user sends out a quantity of 100 for, say, anodizing, and they only expect to get 80 back, the user can include the 20% scrap to account for this difference. Under the Item Details tab, users can see the BOM tree for this particular outsourced item. The main BOM item signifies what the finished product is that will be received following the third-party process, while the attached component is the item being sent to the vendor for processing. Once the BOM has been saved, the user can now open Outsource Central and go through the Setup Wizard. The Outsource Central Setup Wizard takes users through the step-by-step process to outsource processes within the system. Step 1 asks users to either create a new vendor or select an existing one. For this example, we will select the same one assigned to our outsource BOM. Step 2 involves creating or selecting the vendor-specific work center, and Step 3 asks the user to select the item being sent to the vendor. Next, the system asks the user to select the BOM that represents the completed good for this process, again after the outsourced process is complete. Using the information from the previous steps, the system will automatically pull up the correct bill of material for this step. In Step 5, the system pulls the Ship To information from the vendor record in Vendor Maintenance, and it asks the user to confirm these details. Once Finish is selected, Outsource Demand has officially been created in the system, and it will automatically create a ship order to send the inventory item to the third-party vendor, as represented by the list on the right. Users can then right-click on the item and jump to Ship Order to print the packing slip for this shipment. Here you can see the internal outsource sales order, included in which are the two items we will be sending out. The Create Packing Slip button is then selected, and the total number of items that are being sent are selected and brought over to the Packing Slip Items area of the screen. Once the packing slip is posted, it can be printed. Back in Outsource Central, users also have the ability to link a PO to the order by clicking here, then either selecting an existing purchase order or creating a new one. If the user creates a new PO, that number will auto-assign itself to the shipment to the third-party vendor. When a user clicks on Outsource Inventory, they can see the items that have now been shipped to the vendor along with information pertaining to the shipment. If a user right-clicks on this item and selects Jump to Child Inventory, they can view this same basic information by selecting the Locations and Transactions button. Here they can see the quantity sent, the date, and the outsource vendor itself. Once the processed items have arrived from the outsource vendor, they can be received against the purchase order that was created for the shipment. This is done by selecting the Receiving by PO button. Once the purchase order has been selected, the user can click and drag the items that were received to the Received table and post the receipt. When this is selected, the system will automatically select a default location for this item to be moved to, as well as release the pre-shipped items that were allocated for this order. The system then allows the user to print a receiving ticket for these items if they choose to do so. If the users require their third-party vendors to drop ship an order, they can do so with the Drop Ship Receipts button. This not only allows vendors to ship directly to customers, but this tool can also have one vendor ship to another for parts that require more than one process and more than one vendor. In these cases, the item will only be received back into inventory once it has completed all of the outsourced steps and returned to our originating warehouse. This concludes our presentation and demonstration of the Outsource Central module from IQMS. The Outsource Central module gives users a clean workspace to provide visibility to the processes outside of your plant, as well as the ability to generate shipping orders and packing slips for sending components to third-party vendors for additional processing. These tools help manufacturers operate in the best way that suits their business, while working hard to keep their customers happy. Thank you for taking the time to watch our demonstration of the Outsource Central module from Delmiaworks. If you would like more information on the products and services from Delmiaworks, please visit 3ds.com/Delmiaworks.